I'm going to start the video by saying this. Overwatch 2 should not have been released. We're now a few months past the Overwatch 2 launch and nothing has really changed with the game. And if you're frustrated and feel lied to, you are not alone. We were promised a game with frequent updates and instead got the same Overwatch 1 development pattern. Extremely slow updates and hardly any communication about the game. Overwatch is repeating history. And it is tiring to be part of this community for 7 years with the same non-stop mistreatment from Blizzard. This game is not a sequel and shouldn't have been released as one. This is still very much Overwatch 1, just with an update. Let's take a look at the bigger picture here. Most people in gaming, they hear about free-to-play Overwatch 2 and come back to check it out. They come in and see that the game is quite literally the same exact game from 2016. After playing with friends, they move on quickly. I'm sharing this with you because I'm already noticing it with my own friend groups, so I'm assuming you've seen the same as well. And I'm not coming here to tell you about how awful or how broken the game is, because it's not. Overwatch 1 is the best FPS game ever made, and Overwatch 2 is just a decent balance patch on top of it. The game is actually very fun, but I'm at my wit's end with Blizzard and the broken promises. I mean, new players are coming to see weapon inspects in the Overwatch 2 trailers, and then they come to the game and find out that they're not even added yet. What is that? Why are we marketing a game for people to come play when features in the commercials are not even in the game? I think most of us can agree that Overwatch PvP multiplayer has become a thing of the past. Much like Halo, as much as we love it, the world has just moved on without it. This is very heartbreaking for me to say. As you guys know, Overwatch has been my all-time favorite game for 7 years now. Right now, the entire Overwatch 2 consumer experience is identical to 2016. That's a huge red flag. And the only thing that's really changed is now there's an in-game shop for microtransactions. This certainly can't be exciting as a player returning to Overwatch. It's just a shop update? It's worth mentioning that the in-game shop has been really criticized by the community. We seem to all be on the same page with this. This is always going to be fair criticism. I have no idea who is paying these insane dollar amounts. I think the cosmetics are lame to an extent, but of course, someone is paying. And the fact it takes 5 years worth of playing to free-to-play grind Kiriko's cosmetics and that whole big Reddit thread is hilarious. That's just Blizzard slapping us in the face, and I think it really sucks that heroes are locked behind the pass. I'd much rather have them be open to players from the get-go. A ton of people that paid for the game initially are part of the crowd that doesn't want to pay for the battle pass to unlock it immediately. At least put the hero early in the pass. The current state of the Overwatch Battle Pass is pretty disappointing. We all knew what this would look like. We've seen countless games roll out the Battle Pass and they all look the same. But why does Overwatch have to be the exact same? Not only is it shot for shot the same exact structure, but why do the unlockables have to also be boring? This is an issue with gaming as a whole, not just Overwatch. Battle Pass is having the most boring and lazy content added. Oh man, I can't wait to hit the next Battle Pass level and unlock a slightly different color of a skin I already have. But Blizzard used to be known for being above lazy and going that extra mile. That is clearly gone now. But somehow on the Call of Duty front, however, the Modern Warfare 2 Battle Pass has a fresh look and unique style. Now, Call of Duty is innovating more than Overwatch? Why is this so lazy? We have been told that PvE will come in 2023, and we have no more information past that. I suspect a delay is coming. The PvE is the real Overwatch 2. Overwatch 1 is what we're still playing. Do not let anyone at Blizzard try to trick us with marketing campaigns and the presentation of it. This is Overwatch 1. They did not redefine a sequel. They did not even make the sequel yet. The original vision for Overwatch 2 is not what we are playing today. We are all supposed to be happy Overwatch players right now, enjoying the game while Blizzard drops the PvE on us whenever they are done. I believe that PvE is far away, and I'm still not sold it's going to be as good as they say. Too much of the footage they've shown has been multiplayer maps, and I don't know, it just seems like it would be lame to grind a PvP map that just has bots on it. Also, we're not playing as custom classes and characters that we created ourselves. We're playing as a Tracer or a Reinhardt. Not sure how attached we can become to this as players. We'll see. I really do hope it's fun. The next big topic is no new features came with Overwatch 2. This has to be my biggest gripe with the game. We launched Overwatch 2 and really decided no new features was okay. Unless they're considering the scoreboard a feature, and then wow, now we're just starting to sound like Battlefield. There's no features in the game that we didn't have before, no new ways to play, no new training range, no X factors. The competitive ranking system is unanimously agreed upon to be worse than Overwatch 1. What happened? Oh, that's right. It's really just a shop overhaul patch. It's also sloppy to see how often heroes are being removed from the game because of game-breaking bugs. It feels like every other week there's a hero being removed temporarily for fixes. And it's frustrating when a sequel seems to have cut more content than added. A ton of maps have been cut from the game, with the 2CP game mode being moved to custom games only. The on fire indicator was cut, the XP level progression was cut, player borders were cut, cards at the end of the game were Should I keep going? We got some new maps to make up for the old ones and got 3 new heroes on top of that, but nothing else was added. The rest is just cosmetics in the shop. I've played thousands of hours of Overwatch since it came out, with my only impressive credits really being I hit top 500 with Tank in Season 17, and then I played in Grandmaster for most of Overwatch 1's lifespan. After all of this time, I will be honest in that I prefer 6v6 open queue compared to Overwatch 5v5 role lock. Most of my issues with the gameplay stemmed from the new heroes they added, and I've said this same warning for many years. The DLC heroes are by far the most problematic elements of gameplay, and without them, 6v6 open queue Overwatch is a blast. Think back to the 2016-2017 gameplay. That's the gameplay I fell in love with, and I'm putting away my rose-tinted glasses, don't you worry. I've spent a lot of time reflecting on this and going back through the old footage of the game from back then. It played so much differently. And you are not crazy for thinking back and saying, I miss those days. Blizzard, to an extent, knew that these heroes were awfully strong when it came to stunning, booping, and displacing you, so they made adjustments to those heroes for Overwatch 2. Overall, not playing Stunwatch is definitely nice now, but I still feel like McCree having his flashbang was totally fine in the game, and it was a necessary evil to have as a pick against the extreme mobility characters. He had the one stun I was okay with in the game, but I would also be lying to you if I didn't admit this. I enjoy having a second tank to play with. It's actually awesome how fun having that second tank can be. I do not hate Overwatch 2's tanking. It's actually more fitting to my playstyle and how I naturally play the game. I actually really enjoy it, when I can find a match. But there was something marvelous about the interactions between a Zarya and a Reinhardt. You already knew where I was going. And a Winston and D.Va. Notice how I didn't say Sigma and Orisa? Here lies an issue with the state of Overwatch. If you play card games, you're familiar with the term power creep. Overwatch definitely had this over the years, but we're going to learn a new term today, class. It's called unfun creep. When you release new heroes, it means that less time will be played on the other ones. Obviously, there's more options now. But why did some of these options need to exist? I know this sounds crazy, maybe a hot take, but when these tanks were released, it meant seeing Reinhardt and Zarya and Winston and D.Va less often. I consider these tank duos the most interesting and fun gameplay the FPS genre has ever seen. So it's definitely a shame that we've lost that element of gameplay. And that's what unfun creep is. Orisa and Sigma are way less fun to play as and against, especially, compared to the OG Overwatch tanks. I'll reiterate, I do enjoy tanking in Overwatch 2, but I enjoy Overwatch 1's just a bit more. This is part of the state of Overwatch you won't hear many people talking about. Was getting rid of that 6th player absolutely necessary? When it comes to the playability of 5v5, I am still having fun. With the current balancing and removing of 2 tanks, there's more of an emphasis on your mechanical skill. Blizzard took steps to make the game feel more like a shooter and less of a brawler, which is totally good with me. But I remember, this is how the game felt when it first released in 2016. We didn't have the 5 shield shenanigans, the AoE healers that do everything for free all the time, and that game was a flawed masterpiece. I'll never say Overwatch 1 was perfect, but it was marvelous. That gameplay loop during its first couple years is the best gameplay in FPS history. So part of me is a little sad that it's all gone now, and that these new heroes that were supposed to be exciting were really a Trojan horse for deteriorating the gameplay. And now to tie this point all together for today, we now have a bunch of heroes we're just stuck with that we have to keep balancing and trying odd things with. Doomfist gets moved to the tank role, Brig keeps her entire kit except she just lost her stun. It's just odd that we have these DLC Overwatch 1 designs that don't feel like they really fit into the Overwatch 2 design space. Like, what's the point of Mei if she no longer really freezes? I've been saying this for years, just please turn Mei into Frozone from The Incredibles. Let her slide around on the ice and that be her playstyle. Please, Blizzard. It's been stated that the Overwatch team has been working on Overwatch 2, as we know it, for just 1 year. Some sort of decision was made during the PvE development cycle that they needed to shift gears, work on the PvP for Overwatch 2, and then just release it. I am massively against this philosophy and am consistent with it across the gaming industry. Releasing a game in unfinished chunks has to be the least fun player experience ever. You, as an Overwatch player, do not deserve this. Blizzard's former reputation also does not deserve this. This game just wasn't ready to launch as a sequel, and it was wildly inappropriate to market it as such. This was very much an update for Overwatch 1. Now here we are, 7 years later, looking back and remembering the promises of 2016 and how Overwatch had a bright future. We all collectively cheered the franchise on and waited for those next big updates. And now we look back and we see the workshop was really the only big update in the history of the game. Role queue might be considered one, but I'm personally not a fan of this system, and I think it's overall restrictive to the gameplay and less fun. This system is also responsible for Overwatch's infamous queue times. I'm already waiting 15 minutes plus per match to find a game on tank. This is getting old really fast, and it's the sole reason I haven't been playing tank anymore. I really wish Blizzard focused more on the game's format to get the queue times down, but I do believe that this ship sailed long ago. The biggest praise I have for Overwatch 2 is the optimization. I'm sure you've noticed as well, but we are all getting way more frames now. I averaged like 300 in Overwatch 1, and now I can play at 500 if I wanted to. I lock my frames around 240, but now I can play on max settings and get the same frame rates I had in Overwatch 1 on low. Great job to the tech team at Blizzard for the optimization, and I actually am happy to say I believe Overwatch 2 has the best PC optimization in all of PC gaming. Another thing you've probably noticed is a lot of popular community figures are talking about the matchmaking in Overwatch 2. From my own personal experience, I don't really know what happened, but this has to be the least fun I've ever consistently had with the matchmaking. I've never been able to trust a teammate less than I have with this game, and it appears to be more of an MMR thing where the algorithm is reading your secret stats wrong, and it's dumping career-long diamonds and platinums into your Master and Grandmaster lobby. Of course, I'll end by saying this: every loss is absolutely my fault, and I should have and could have done more. But after 7 years of playing at a decently high level, I can feel the difference in teammates in this new matchmaking system. And if it's not my team that's struggling, I can see it a lot sometimes on the other team, and it just makes me feel bad. So overall, who is to blame for the current state of Overwatch? During the mass anti-Blizzard media cycle that went on for a while against Bobby Kotick especially, you'll remember tweets from employees saying how Bobby had wasted the team's time with scrapped projects on top of all the other problems Blizzard was facing with management. This is pretty clearly a management issue, and not an Overwatch team issue. I feel bad for them in a sense because I'm sure this was not the game they wanted to ship. I bet they wanted to ship a completely new game that was finished including the PvE. But instead we got Overwatch 1.5. I can't imagine how Jeff Kaplan and the original team that made Overwatch feels about this. The current state of Overwatch is an entirely different team of people after this much turnover has happened at the company. It's like how Bungie made Halo and then 343 Industries did. It's the same game, but a totally different group of people is making it. That's basically happening again. It's almost comical how similar Overwatch 2 is to Halo. The game wasn't ready, but for some reason the publishers forced it out in separate pieces, leading to an overall degraded experience. All we have are promises on the horizon. The current state of Overwatch is a clear representation of the current state of Blizzard. Do we think Blizzard would have released this game as early access in 2007? The answer is no, because there was a clear vision and message that everyone at Blizzard followed. They made polished, finished games in fantasy worlds. Now, they make promises to make those same games. There's a difference. Talking about Overwatch used to be really exciting, and now it's just mostly become disappointing. I'm not sure I want to keep playing this 7 years in a row with the hope for more features and updates. I don't have an 8th year left in me, and something tells me most others also do not. This game, which is indeed fun, has always been billed with a promise of more, and that's why we bought in back in 2016. And during the last 7 years, the gaming industry changed a lot. Keeping up with the content that's coming out with large communities such as the Fortnite, Warzone, Minecrafts, for example, it seems impossible. But this is very doable. And the strangest part is that Blizzard this entire time was telling people how small their team was on Overwatch. They almost said it like they were proud of how small the team was. It is impressive that they made a game as good as Overwatch is. But why didn't we get more help to keep developing it? After Titan crashed and burned and Overwatch rose from the ashes, Were the $1 billion in sales not enough to tell you maybe this game deserves more priority in development as a company? It just really sucks to watch every game get consistent updates and more content while Overwatch 1 had to die and wait for Overwatch 2, which isn't really even out yet, to come and maybe save it. One thing we can all agree on is that we are excited for the PvE, and that's really what Overwatch 2 is. Overwatch was awesome for the 2016 landscape, adding so much to the FPS genre we haven't seen before. It was new and fresh. So why is the state of Overwatch 2 not like that? I'm not sure where the disconnect is with Activision Blizzard management, but this game was worth putting the extra time into and making sure this had old Blizzard magic. What Jeff Kaplan's team shipped in 2016 was a Game of the Year deserving game. You couldn't describe the excitement around this game when it launched. It was magical. And now magical is the last word I'd use to describe it. The word I'd use now to describe Overwatch 2 is desperate. The only people that feel the magic are really just the streamers that have been playing 12 hours a day for 7 years. To most others, this is a nice, fun trip down memory lane. It's great with friends, but it's not the all your time deserving game it once was. It's just a desperate attempt to separate you from your money, misleading you that it's a sequel. Thank you.